Hello and welcome to the Dash News podcast. This is episode 123. I am Mark Mason and I'm joined by my fellow co-host and amigo Joel Valenzuela. How's it going, Joel?
I'm feeling pretty amazing actually. It feels a lot later than usual.
Yeah, interesting. But I've got a question for you. What do you think of this T-shirt?
I think it's pretty bling blinged out.
Pretty sparkly, right? So
yes, it's definitely a throwback to a time of plenty that is now yet a distant memory.
Yeah, so I tried to earlier on in the week. I ordered some new swag because I needed to update some of my T-shirts because they were looking a bit old, the Dash ones. And because I get my stuff custom printed, one of the options was like a metallic gold, and I was thinking, oh, that might look really cool. So I ordered this, and it arrived today, and it's like glittery gold, but it's like so super glittery. I don't think I could wear it out. It's almost like a coming out Dash party.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a 13-year-old Hispanic girl, what she might wear.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is fine. I mean, there's worse things to be for sure.
Excellent. Well, I think we need a bit of a glitter in our lives because this week the Dash price and actually the whole crypto market cap has been
that was funny,
chaotic, man.
Yeah. So if you all read Dash News, which I hope you do, and if you don't, well, earlier in the week I wrote about that Bitcoin hash rate crash that happened because apparently the hash rate plunged 40% overnight. And people are freaking out, and it allows you to. It kind of raises a lot of questions about security if something like that can just get dropped overnight. Because obviously, if you're an attacker on the outside, you have no hash rate. You're just like waiting to, just waiting for a good time to strike or whatever. Which is, it's just never going to happen. All of a sudden, the 40%, the network is 40% weaker. Okay, you might jump in on that as an attack vector. But what if you're like a current hash rate participant? You have 20 to 30%. Let's say it's just 20% of the hash rate, and then it loses 40%. So you're now one third of the remaining network. You're like one third of the remaining network. Now you're just like, why don't I just throw some stuff towards nice hash and stuff, or I don't know, whatever else. Just get that up and cause some shenanigans. So that kind of temporary vulnerability issue, first off, it makes you think that what happens if there's, say, for example, a mining pool located in China. In fact, there's quite a few. In fact, 75% of the hash rate last time I checked, but hey, that's a different same different discussion. What happens if there's like a power outage in a particular city or a particular area that contains a significant amount of that hash rate, and oops, it's all gone, and for the moment, and then during the power outage, then someone else can just be like, hey, why don't I just help myself to some of these coins? Just saying, it can happen. So that's something that I think that we're gonna have to grow up beyond. I mean, I think people consider pure proof of work to be enough for a big network like Bitcoin, but I don't care if you're a smaller market cap than Bitcoin like Dash might be. You still need yourself some chain locks in your life.
Absolutely. And it was only last week we was talking about Bitcoin's kind of like dependency or the dominance of the Chinese mining pools.
Quite a few weeks ago, but it keeps coming up week after week.
Well, it's a relevant topic, right?
I know.
I mean, because when the price went down, everyone was like, oh my God, it's a bloodbath. But when you did the article earlier in the week about the hash rate, I think it was probably the hash rate drop-in that kind of kicked it off, because there were articles that were coming out saying, I saw one on Crypto Briefing, and it had Matty Greenspan, from senior analyst from eToro, and he was saying that initially he felt that it was the market being disappointed with the launch of Backed, because a lot of people thought institutional money was going to come in, and he felt like maybe perhaps the whales were disappointed. Do you think that played a role?
You mean the price crash at the beginning of the week?
Yeah,
definitely, very definitely. This is all stuff that's beyond anyone's full comprehension, of course, but Everyone remembers being backed, and institutions are coming as more the bigger thing, and then backed is one of those big institution type things. And when people expect these kinds of things to happen, they don't wait for them to happen and then just rush to buy in. A lot of people just say, "Oh, I'm going to be the smart man in the room. I'm going to get in on that early. I'm going to have a whole bunch of this stuff, and then as soon as we have as soon as then it happens, it's like, yay, I got in early. Now my investment is worth a lot more." The problem is, if you're like that one guy who has the same bright idea, it's just like, oh, there's an active shooter in the restaurant. Guess what? I'm going to sneak out through the back door. Oh, wait, the whole rest of the restaurant is also trying to sneak out through the back door. Fuck. It's like one of those kinds of things. So it's one of those things where I think the Bitcoin price went pretty high relative to the bottom of the bear market, at least recently, by people who were by people anticipating some kind of a institutional increase. And then they kind of created that self-fulfilling prophecy about institutions are coming, therefore the price will go up. Oh wait, we made the price go up. And then at some point you're like, oh, this backed thing, which to be honest, I don't fully understand what it is. Even I know that there seem to be several aspects to it that are a little confusing, but whatever it is, people bought into these, and not that many. The first day, it was not that popular. And so a lot of people were thinking, oh, so we're just literally expecting other people to come in and start buying this stuff. We bought in anticipation of a bunch of people buying in, essentially. I mean, the whole pyramid kind of idea. And then when those people didn't, now they're like, oh no, maybe I was the last one to buy in, and then they dumped. So as usual, these things come and they go, and there's rebounds after a big old crash. But the thing is, it's about time we start looking into some more realistic reasons why people would kind of use this sort of thing. And that's really the thing is, from the old days, the constant climb upwards for Bitcoin was a utility-based one. It was, oh, it's going great, it's going to change the world, blah, blah, blah. And then they keep on just trying to say, hey, let's get this business to take it. Let's get that business to take it. Let's get these people paid in and that thing paid in. And then when the price reacts, it's like there's a correlation to that. And when the price doesn't yet react, there's something to keep working towards until it does. But with the current situation of, it's a store of value. All right, well, how is it going to grow then? Well, more people will see it as a store of value. All right, what can we do about that? Memes? I mean, it's got to the point where people start thinking like institutions will come in, things will come in, but there's no next step for that to happen. There's no like, oh, this is great, we're going to build it, we're going to work tirelessly in all these negotiations for have like all these, say, investment companies have all these features, try to get banks to get in on it, or however they do it. It seems to be a lot of like waiting around compared to previous times. So now it's just like, all right, everyone's going to buy in, and then no one buys in. And it's like, ooh, now there goes we're back to that flat line.
But when the price comes down, there's always pros and cons to it. Of course, there's the emotional attachment of being upset, but every time the price comes down, it increases distribution because it allows more people to enter the market. And I think where Backed launched at the start of the week, there was so much mainstream media attention given to institutional money that even though it didn't start off very well, that extra awareness might actually help present more opportunity. So sometimes it's good. I mean, if you do not believe Bitcoin offers the best solution right now, it is still the dominance it has in the coin market cap. And we know the coin market cap is mostly based on speculation, right? The utility factor isn't really priced in my personal opinion. So I think actually it's refreshing. When the price goes down, they say, oh, you're just shaking out loose hands. Well, it actually creates so much more opportunity for new people to come in.
In theory, yes. I think in practice, it tends to be the opposite of that, to where you have, say, percentage conviction or whatever of people, and when the price crashes, it tends to limit the pool of people. It seems to contract the pool of investors, right? So there's certain like 100 people, then you probably might end up with say 30 people who are still in because everyone else gets shaken out, and those people will buy the bottom. So now the same distribution, all those people getting out dumped back into these 30 that then now they have a much larger share. So probably like those crashes, I think they're a fantastic opportunity for new entrants. I don't think that they don't necessarily lead to that. I've noticed this from my personal experience. All the people who are talking about buying at the bottom, other than maybe a random new person I might have talked to, they're all people I've known for a long time. They're all people who are OG holders. They just, all right, it's like I'm emptying out my couch cushions to find change to buy at this price. Oh my gosh. And then when it goes all the way up, when it starts going up, especially during like the second half of 2017, people who I did not know anything about, like had nothing to do with crypto. So friends, acquaintances, everything, random people in bars, random university students, everything, just heard them talking about like, oh, I think I'm going to get in, or I think I'm going to buy stuff. I'm like, wow. It's not just that people are trying to buy it, just that people I never thought would touch it are now deciding they're going to get into it. And so then they do, and would you know it, they're all out now. They didn't have lasting power. So I think you get a pool of new people during the pumps, and rather than the other way around, where it's all the old holders are like going on their yacht cruises now because they're just like, ah.
Yeah, I mean,
so maybe that's a pessimistic, dark kind of way of looking at things. But I mean, I do think that for the smart money, and the big pump is when people are like, oh wow, there's some mania around this, and they start paying attention. And then they might like buy a little bit, but they pay attention. And then after the big old crash, they're still paying attention that they didn't have attention to begin with before the big price bump. But then when it crashes, now they're like, all right, now that I got my attention, I'm sniffing around here. I'm looking at what it is. Hey, this looks like it's still good. I see why it pumped to begin with, but I also see that now it's a great time to get in. And then they enter, and then they're the new happy people when it goes all the way up.
Yeah, and I agree. I think there's always a silver lining to everything. And one of the things that really concerned me about Backed was it seemed like the whole crypto sphere was waiting for this moment for months on end, hoping that institutional money was going to come in to give them that validation, right? And my fear was that all this institutional money would come in, pump the price, and then the very people that should be getting into crypto would be somehow left behind, and then it would be largely dominated. So I think in some ways it's bittersweet that the Backed news, when it came out in earlier the week, it didn't go how people were expecting. Whether that was priced into the market or not is subjective, right? I don't know 100%, but I think now that the price did go down after that event, I think now even people that were potentially Bitcoin holders that were had that hopium for this event to do something big, they may be reflecting now, and it gives them a chance to reevaluate their positions. What is it that I'm actually holding? What does it actually mean to me? And where do I see it going from here? Because it could have been easily, I don't want to say the word hijacked, but there's so much money in Wall Street and institutions, they could just come in and clean up, like if they really wanted to. And now they've got access potentially to do that. So in some ways, yes, the price being down is frustrating, but there's always, as you say, there's always new opportunities to be explored. So I think that is the silver lining.
That is also pretty funny when I think about it. Like institutions can just jump in anytime they want. And like, how much do you want to bet? It's just like, how much you want to bet that there's 74 people or whatever they were at the front of the line that just like ran in, and everyone else was laughing at them. They're like, and they just come in, they buy something, it all goes off the cliff, and then everyone else comes in. They're like, dude, we knew that was going to happen. And then they're at cocktail hour or whatever and be like, oh, Johnson, oh, so a little premature, are we? Oh, is your lady like that? Oh, like all the jokes. Who knows if there's going to be that for those few people, the 70 odd people that jumped in then, and it could be wildly successful, but it just the way those kinds of things work. And that's the thing, is I don't like I ain't no fantastic trader. I don't want a trader at all. In fact, I've never used exchange. But from looking at charts up and down, at some point you got to be able to recognize it down. You got to be able to recognize a hockey stick up, as they call it, the whoop. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist. If you're deciding, hey, this is a good asset, it's going to go up or it's going to go down or whatever you think. If it's going to go up, and then as soon as you see this crash, you're just like, all right, that looks pretty bad. When can I get in? And then you just get in that. Or next time it just goes way up. You're like, oh, okay, I got to take some of this home. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and the I find funny with all this is number go up, number go down. You know, that it's all a figment of our imaginations if we want it to be. Which is so funny where if you have that long patient view as a trader, like a not trader, as a long-term investor, and you're just looking at this stuff, you threw say $6,000 into Bitcoin. What was the bottom? 6,300?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It was something like that. Like say, let's just round it down to 6,000 for good purposes, right? You put some in as like 6,000, and then you're just like, oh, this is good. And then next week it's like 4,998. You didn't lose any money. You're just doing your thing. You're still going about your day. You're still reading up on stuff. You're still having hobbies and a life and a family or whatever. You're still just doing that, and then the number just says something that's scary. But then you just check up on it in a little while, like, oh, you know what? It's like now it's at 7. Now it's at 10. Oh, well, then it's like 6,900 again. Oh, that's no good. And then you just like, eventually you're just, all right, I have made 34% on this since I got it. That's not bad. I'm going to go spend some on like a vacation or something. And then you take it out and there you go. You take those profits at that point. But the whole like the flash crash makes it seem like you lost units of money. You absolutely did not.
Yeah, and I think that actually comes with experience, because you shouldn't get suckered in and make decisions on short-term emotions. If you're investing for the long term, then you're focused on the end game. So these short-term, I mean, it's a market cycles, right? Markets move in wealth cycles. And although the flash crash took me by surprise, and I think the whole crypto sphere, because everyone had high expectations of backed, you know, we shouldn't really be that surprised. In fact, if I was an institutional player and I had lots of money to invest, even with the price coming down with the flash crash, I see that as more opportunity, because I think on May 20th, like 230 days time from now, there's the halvening event. And that's the next thing people are going to cling on to and get fixated with, because, historically, data-wise, the price has always gone up when the halvening happens. So that's what people get tuned into. So if I was an institutional investor and with the price after the flash crash, I would be tempted to jump in. Like I said, this is actually a fantastic opportunity. Just like the last dip, as you well know, I took full advantage of it, because I don't want to say we're conditioned to it. We're not desensitized, but we just know how market flows work. So I see opportunity. I saw the last dip and I switched up from precious metals into Dash because I saw that opportunity. I've seen this happen before and I knew when to pull the trigger. This time round, let's see what happens. But the long-term game doesn't change anything in the short term. And I think that's always important to remember.
Yeah, and that is pretty interesting to check. I had some people show me, they plotted out from market bottom, like historical market bottom, to market top, and halvening, Bitcoin halvening, and kind of for the whole market. And kind of plotted those points and showed that the cycle repeats itself within like 14 days variance. Like the bottom is going to be here, the top is going to be, between this and that, within like a couple of days, within a couple of weeks, like variance, like that's going to be it. And so with that prediction of like late September, early October 2021 for next top of the market, which, I mean, does history get to rhyme this much? If it is, I'm just saying, like that we'll see. I would definitely be willing to see if there was some kind of a complete takeoff of giant percentage somewhere around early fall 2021. If so, now we just know it's just a complete pattern. But the fact that the pattern is repeated that much, and it's not like technical analysis type stuff, which is just all extremely short term kind of stuff. It's like, well, there's a cup and handle pattern and the descending triangle of this, and like, yeah, it's a little bit of voodoo there. I mean, I'm sure that a lot of people make money by correctly interpreting those things, but it's not quite as like every time this happens, every time this happens. And if you see the market go crazy, like the first Bitcoin rise to like $1,100, like whoa, this is crazy. And then you use it at that point, you sell it, you do whatever you want, and then when it just crashes, you're just like, well, I've seen a few different hockey sticks up before. This is going to happen again, and I just got to, keep an eye on the market, but just otherwise get a life. And then it's just going to be back up again. Next time, it's like, all right, here we go. Then people start screaming, blood in the streets. It's all crashing. Arrgh. But hopefully, these up and downs in the market will even off a little bit instead of up and down, up and down. Hopefully, they'll even off. It's not, which sounds terrible to say that, like, oh well, hopefully at some point people won't make as much money off of this. Well, no. If Dash went to $100, that would be nice. What if it stays at $100 forever? I mean, as long as that it enables more and more people to actually use it, as long as people start using it. Like, what if 10 years from now Dash is at the present day purchasing power of 100 USD? Not whatever US dollar purchasing, it'll probably be like 80,000. Who knows? Who knows what inflation will do? But as long as you can buy the same thing with one Dash as you could do then. But what if the utility is through the roof? What if you can spend it everywhere? What if there's places that will give you a discount for using it? What if salaries are higher at companies because they're able to cut down significantly on transaction costs and other things? What if like all that is done? Would you really be so bummed about the price? I mean, if you bought it like, 1,600, then yes. But otherwise,
I wouldn't want to be John McAfee right now. I'd be looking at the charts, crying into my hands, like, oh, what have I done?
Yeah, he's gonna have to get one of those little like Viking longships made like this, and just put it in his tub and ready to set it ablaze in the funeral pyre, like Viking dong ship. Am I right? Anyway, there's what date did John McAfee say he predicted to be $1 million or something?
No, I think he was pretty vague. I think he just said 2020 Bitcoin being $1 million. So that could be any stage 2020. It wasn't specific enough.
Could it be a 2020? So in other words, 2021? Is that a 2020? Because if
no,
so,
I don't think that's fair. Because I think the way it was worded is like, if Bitcoin isn't 1 million. Sorry, if Bitcoin isn't 1 million, I'll eat my dick on national TV live or something along those lines. What's the word in?
Yeah. What if the joke's on us? He already ate it years ago. He's not telling us. You never know. I'm just saying. It's one of those kinds of things.
What if something magical happens, though, and it does achieve that? I mean, the odds are that ain't happening. I mean, stranger things have happened, but I just can't foresee that. I can't even see half that. Can't even see a quarter of that. Can't even see a tenth of that right now.
Yeah. Well, let's see. What was it? The peak of the 20. This is just my limited memory because I've only been in the space for like a little over 6 years. Around 6, yeah. 2013 peak was about 1,100, and then the 2017 peak was roughly 20 times that. Now, what's 20? That would be what, like 400,000. 20 times that would be like 400,000 or something. Still 500,000. Nah, I don't know. I think that
wishful thinking.
I think he's just knows something we don't. Like he has some kind of terminal cancer, and he just knows that he won't be around for that, so he wants to have a laugh while he's still breathing, you know?
Well, I mean, he certainly gets attention. I mean, it gets the headlines going. It's a bit like Tone Vays, isn't it? I'm expecting like headlines everywhere from him, like Bitcoin going to 3,000, Bitcoin going to 1,000. I can see it now.
Yeah. This is a very interesting space when you think about it, how absolutely new and was the stock market ever like this? Were there ever actually just random people saying random things? Like, I think the whole internet meme culture enabled this weird gang of people to be part of the cryptoverse. This was not possible before. It was not this weird before. But, you know, the magical Wall Street bros. Has that ever been a thing?
I just think this was always going to happen at some point, because my fear is most people that are investing into cryptocurrency are doing it because they think they're going to make money, or they're going to make some profit. Yeah, they may believe in the underlying sound money, right? But at the same time, they feel that it makes sense, right? It's beneficial for them to exchange their fiat for crypto, and it's going to monetarily benefit them in the long run. My fear is that so much focus has been on the speculation part of the coin market cap, that perhaps having this negative downward pressure makes people reevaluate and focus the shift to actually utility, so people actually look at projects differently. Because if Bitcoin fails to promise, especially on the Lightning Network front, this was, there was always going to be some kind of negative reaction at some point, whether it was the hash rate or whether some negative blowback, or maybe a Blockstream kind of has some developer kind of blow up or some kind of leak or some kind of information. And in that sense, there is that kind of centralized aspect when you put so much emphasis on a single entity to deliver your future for what's meant to be an open source project. And I think people are going to have to take a long look in the mirror and just say, like, what am I actually putting my money into this for? What does it actually deliver? What does it actually do? Let's go down on a list. Okay, and how does that compare to other things? So from a technical perspective, can it do this? Can it do that? What can it do? What can't it do? And how does that apply to the real world and the traditional banking system now? And is that beneficial, or is it actually subpar? And I don't think the cryptosphere and people getting into it are doing that. We're seeing a lot of crypto influencers that even behind the scenes are deeply concerned about Bitcoin and its progress, but they won't say it in public, right? Because they got to keep a front and a face to their community, because that's essentially their business line, right? So they won't say it
publicly until the market catches up to the reality, and then they're okay to say something. That's absolutely astute, though, that people will start to shift on this kind of thing. And when you're looking at metrics, right? It's funny because metrics are extremely arbitrary, right? Numbers are numbers. And even numbers that go up, which number goes up? Some people, I noticed this thing, for example, when the price is lagging, people just say, oh, you know what? The hash rate's still going up. Well, sure. I mean, sometimes it is. And especially sometimes it is if new technology is being released that makes it easier to be able to mine the same hash rate for a smaller amount of cost or whatever. But there's also some people anticipate, so they buy it low or whatever. They anticipate the hash rate, the price going up, so they go it low, and they're like, it always runs up the price. Well, not really, not always, but it could. They try to look at those metrics, and when the price is up, that's the only metric that matters. Oh, number went up. You suck if your number is low. But at some point, anyway, despite that being the big caveat of numbers, there are other numbers that I think are relative, and I would love to get some actual statistics on these numbers rather than just casual observation. But I have casually observed, and part of this includes the now old but still fun to talk about Coinbase announcement when Dash got on the full Coinbase platform. I think it's very relevant that I remember when Coinbase had Bitcoin, and that's it. And then I don't remember which was first. Was it Ethereum or Litecoin that was first? Do you remember?
I'm not sure. I was going to say Litecoin, but I remember Ethereum really upset the maximalists like crazy when that got listed. So
Yeah,
I'm
it
not
must have
sure.
been Ethereum first. And so then a lot of services, I remember, were like Bitcoin, Ethereum only. And then Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. I remember that used to be a thing. And then the whole Bitcoin Cash split made people like scratch their heads. But a lot of these OG exchanges that we're just going to do trade the big stuff. And there's always been shitcoinery has always been a thing. There's always been people willing, oh yeah, I'll just support every single thing under the sun. Oh yeah, I'll just do that. There's always been people that have that, but there's always been big dogs that just stick to one. Oh yeah, Bitcoin only, or just the top three. It's funny, like the top three, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, were like, that was the compromise. And then it's like over time, I'm just like, that's not enough anymore, is it? Oh, we got to add something else there too. And now almost every single system is just tons of options. How many does Coinbase have? It's like 20 coins or something. It's a million of them. And before it's like, oh, we'll add a stable coin too. Oh, we'll add a few stable coins. It's
Well, they've got
everything
their own stable coin, haven't they? They got the
Yeah.
USDC or something. I think that's what it's. I think that's the ticker.
Yes, everything is diversifying so much. And so that's one thing that I don't think people just say, well, number go up, like the maximalist types. Oh, number go up. It's, all alts are bleeding out. Well, really? Well, why does is alt hash rate still going up? Why are alt transaction counts still going up? Why are all the most OG big exchanges and services adding more coins, not removing them? Why is it all shaken out like that? If this is it, it's, again, front running the price, right? If hash rate precedes price, what about like businesses integrating stuff? They're clearly anticipating something else. Something's going to be a big move. And so when the money flows back into stuff, I'm sure it'll flow out in a lot more of a diversified kind of a manner. But it's becoming obvious first things, in terms of dominance from like a maximalist type standpoint, it's clear that that has gone away. That people thought, oh, well, this is the only crypto I need to care about. And then just when it didn't happen, just when it wasn't possible anymore, instead of just, well, we'll go to the new only thing to have. Nope. They realized, well, we're never going to go back to just one coin. That's just not how the world works. It's just, we're done with that. But more what you're seeing is people are just diversifying more and more out of that. And so this whole idea of just use one thing, I think people are learning really quickly. It's the space in general, and you have to support a whole bunch of different things. So it's going to be interesting to see how this whole thing turns around, shakes out. But as always, may the currency competition be with you. Am I right?
What we really need is for exchanges to add Dash as a main trading pair. Dash Bitcoin, Dash Ethereum, Dash Litecoin, etc., etc. So we can really push the arbitrage trading opportunities between exchanges, and Dash having the chain locks and instant send functionality will help us push that with other exchanges that haven't added that functionality yet. And that's one thing that Dash can really do, and that day traders in cryptocurrency can really, really benefit from. And then we can start seeing all kinds of new trading opportunities and platforms and services surrounding that. And I was pitching one to you earlier about push notifications, essentially like armchair trading, because if you create a solution that would use the API from all the exchanges, and if that essentially you could put in your balance, and providing you'll be happy to give your access, your username and passwords to all those different exchanges based on your risk that you're willing to put, you could execute those trades and automate them to take advantage. And you could look between the different exchanges for where those opportunities are there. That is what the future is. Can you do that with other cryptocurrencies right now? No, because of the confirmation times on the withdrawals and deposits. You need something like Dash where you can get in and out of to actually, take advantage of those opportunities. And I don't think, this could actually open up a whole new market. armchair trading, automate the process, get push notifications telling you, oh, you just made a trade, you just made this much. And even if it's for a small amount, I mean, you can do all kinds of pricing models. Like maybe I'm pitching a solution here, but you could have a solution like this, which is free, which will show you the exchanges, and then you could show you the percentage, what you can get from that exchange to another one, and you can monitor it for free. And you could, so providing you're happy to do the manual trading, it's free. But if you want to automate the trading and submit, you could pay a $5, $10 subscription fee, and that would pay for the whole system. And I'm sure many traders would jump on that opportunity, as long as it proves itself, because providing the exchanges you're using and the order books are good, and the exchanges have instant send, withdraw and deposit functionality, of course, which is a growing list of number of exchanges, there is so much opportunity here. And this is just one use case. And other cryptocurrencies can't do this right now. And I hope other exchanges wake up to this and follow Coinbase's lead. And then hopefully we can get chain locks down to 1 or even 0 confirmations because of the instant lock of instant settlement, instant confirmation. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Does that excite you?
Yes, that absolutely does excite me. And one thing I think is worth pointing out when you're talking about all this is when you talk about, everyone has an opinion, just like, everyone has a bottom. Everyone has an opinion too. And some are more attractive than others, but ultimately everyone just has one, can throw it around like no one cares. What does tend to matter is what people do with their life choices. And part of that is, how do markets value things, i.e. what are people willing to value? Sure. But even more static than that is, what are people willing to value with an investment of not just temporary resources, but of long-term infrastructure, which goes to the hash rate thing. But what I mean here is, what technologies are companies supporting? Now, part of the thing is, when you talk about like Coinbase, I'm sure everyone at Coinbase, not everyone, I'm sure a lot of people at Coinbase are relatively old school, big Bitcoin maximalist types. Maybe not like hard, like nasty maximalist types, but just like they're all about Bitcoin, and then they kind of like the other ones a little bit, but they're mostly Bitcoin first. They're definitely no Dash deals, what I'm saying. But why did they base a business? Why did they do a very Dash-shilly business decision to accept Dash quicker than other coins? Nothing to do with personal opinion, I think. I think they're just making a cold-hearted business decision of, we know that this is secure and we'll trust it at this point. And if we make customers wait too long, they're not going to use it that much. We would want everything to be instant if we could trust it. But we don't trust Bitcoin until an hour's gone by. We trust Dash after 5 minutes. And even though they don't think about that out loud, there it is. It's the proof right there.
Yeah.
And one thing I've been surprised at is, when I remember peak alt season, everyone was just shilling every token, everything was going on. And especially when Dash had that crazy victory march in 2017, where people are like, it's gonna be evolution soon. And then, the price is great. It's just everything's going to the moon, and you 10 million in the treasury at one point per month. It was just crazy. During that time, you'd think everyone's scrambling to work with Dash. True, that too. But compared to then, I find so many more companies seem to be open to partnering with Dash, in terms of like they want to integrate into their service and stuff. And you talk about going from like a number 3 market cap ranking and a big boom alt season a year to, top 20 in a terrible, bear markety thing. But yet people are still trying. They're still, from my experience, more happy to work with Dash than they were before. Now, why is this? What do you think? I have a theory.
Well, we've got much more people on the ground on a regional basis. We've now got multiple Dash-funded organizations doing business development. And in terms of integrations and strategic partnerships, we can actually offer a lot more other support than other cryptocurrencies, because we hear this all the time. If you want to integrate with a certain project and they don't have a solid team, it could be open source, but like, who do you go to? Where do you go for support? There may be some form of documentation, but you don't actually have people that you can really contact with. And we have dedicated biz dev teams in different regions of the world, so we can actually offer that extra help and insight and support from inception to actual launch. And I think that's the part of the secret sauce of Dash, and it always comes back to the DAO, because they're almost incentivized to do that, because we are sustainable in the long term, where lots of cryptocurrencies grind to a halt in bear markets and everything else. We've continued to innovate, and I think they can see that. And also, if they read Dash News, the #1 source of Dash News online, then they can Dashnews.org. They can see that there are so many integrations, developments, and partnerships each week. We never run short of news to report on. In fact, we have to cherry pick news over other things right now to get articles out. So, I mean, it's a great time to be in Dash. So anyone that's actually following the market and actually really wants to do, because if you're a business, you want utility, right? You want users, you want clients. If you're going to add a crypto project just to do a press release, okay, you may get a few articles about it, but in a week's time, everyone would have forgot about it. You want business. You want users to be using your business. So essentially, you want a cryptocurrency that's actually getting volume and actual real world use. And what better cryptocurrency than Dash?
Yes, of course, you want use. And before people get to that level of understanding about Dash, they're very just happy to see some signs of life from somewhere. It's like back in the bull market, everything's going to the moon, all the air horns, beams, and all that stuff, all the Snoop Dogg and blunts flying around, all that kind of stuff. All the happiness is gone. Like at that point, people are willing to do anything. Oh, I'm going to try to spend. Everyone's excited. Then all of a sudden, people who excitedly built businesses around servicing this exciting new technology and its user base, all of a sudden it's a ghost town. And they're like, oh man, just like, well, it's going slow. We're just digging our heels and waiting for everything to turn around. Oh, well, remember all these products were so exciting? Where are they now? And then the fact that it's just like, it's like a post-apocalyptic world where, you just see nothing and it's just tumbleweeds and destruction. And then you see like a lone Dash just like walking down the street, just being like, hey, anyone here? And then, oh, yes, there's a person. There's still a person. And so they get excited. There's still someone out there trying to partner with businesses and put new users through that system. There's still someone. And they start with that. And then later, when the relationship deepens, they're like, oh, wow, these guys got a lot of stuff going. Oh, there's 1,000 new merchants here. Oh, there's this going on there. Oh, that technology is awesome. Oh, that's great. And it just kind of goes on and on. And I mean, I think that's exemplified by Joshua Valtoro, who was our last guest last week. Just talking about, he just loved the whole chain locks thing and loved the security. He just thought it was all done very right. And that's a very, from my previous understanding of him, he's very bullish on Bitcoin and even fascinated in the Lightning Network, things like that. But at some point, so it's a little bit of a politically, what you would call not exactly a politically feasible opinion, but because of people in the Dash community within his company that just sort of introduced him to it, he starts looking at the technology. It's like, well, this is great. I love this. It has nothing to do with like biases and tastes, because it kind of runs against all that. I just look at this and it's like, this is good stuff. I think that more companies will be like, integrate our Litecoin or whatever, or just, all right, well, who's going to use it? Oh yeah, I don't know. Look, it's on UFC rings. It's at the Miami Dolphins, whatever.
We got t-shirts, Joel. We got t-shirts.
Yeah. I mean, look, we got our own clothes. We got all our. So then they start looking and say, hey, well, these guys now have super secure instant transactions and stuff. And then there's a growing user base, or the merchant directory shows wherever you can spend it around the world. There's like stuff building on growing. They're like, okay, this is good. This is an engine for success. And people are going to do that. And then all of a sudden, Oh, wait. The price is starting to go up. Oh, prices, whatever. Although I honestly think that when you talk about pricing, what do you think? Do you think the price of Dash as it is today or as it is last week or whatever, around this time, ignore the rest of the crypto field, not relative to cryptos, relative to where Dash is, how realistic is a price? Do you think it's oversold, overbought, just about right? What do you think? What's your personal opinion?
I think in terms of coin fair value, I think the number of transactions that we're doing, which does change quite rapidly on the day, and the solution we're trying, and the scarcity number alone, and the fact that we've got so many key integrations now with other merchants and that availability, I do think we are very undervalued. I mean, last year was all about Venezuela. Now we've got quite a lot of adoption in Colombia, but also Thailand, and now Dash Iran, Dash Turkey are also facing currency crises. So actually, when you think about how much Dash is available, there's more millionaires in China than there is Dash available. So I do think when you think about currencies that are out there and what we're competing with, because we have to look from a global level, I think the value that we provide, I do think we are undervalued right now in what we offer, personally.
Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly is a good price, a good valuation. It's a little, I would say, I don't think, like, compared to like actual practical use today, I do still think that Dash has a little sliver of speculation to it, to where the realistic price I think is in the $50 to $100 range. Something. This is just a random gut feeling, but I don't take this too seriously. But that's kind of like where it should be, based on like the number of users, number of transactions, how usable the technology is today. It's solid, it's good. It's not perfect. Obviously, we're trying to make sure that, stress tests, et cetera, smooth everything out. We're trying to wait for usernames and all that kind of stuff. But it's pretty solid. The thing is, it's not that I'm super over optimistic about Dash. I'm pretty realistic about where we're at now. But the rest of the field. So what is a Litecoin? Is it about the same price as Dash? Is a little bit under right now per unit?
I've not looked, but it's probably pretty close, I would imagine.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think the market price, like if I was going to give that valuation to Dash, like within 50 to 100, I'd probably put Litecoin at like 8 or something, or lower. Just not that high at all, because there you have to value some kind of network effects. You got to value where it's integrated, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You have to
no development. They're dependent on another project's updates for them to backport, and they're even behind on that, right? So
as far as like maturity of an ecosystem and development, it's got like nothing really. It's very amateurish at this point. It doesn't mean it doesn't have value. It's just like it reminds me of the year it was created, right? Wasn't it 2011 or something? I think it was like around 2011. Yeah. So it's very like 2011 to early 2013 crypto. It's just like, oh yeah, I got some stuff. Oh, you got some sport team to like look at it. You got, it's got that juvenile sort of energy where there's experimenting with stuff. It's like, well, this is Bitcoin's great. Well, we're gonna like also do that and then just twist the little thing and just see how that works. And it just has that sort of an energy to it. And I'm just, so many of these other coins that just don't have anything going on. It's funny because like Bitcoin Cash, when it got forked, I would have put extremely low at valuation. Today, I would put it's funny because the value of Bitcoin Cash relative to the rest of the space seems to have gone down a lot. Whereas I would argue it should have gone the opposite. It should have been down here because they spent a lot of time building out infrastructure and stuff like that, and users and things like that,
and merchants. Yeah, I think
figuring out
Bitcoin Cash
security. Yeah, and so that would have been, but as far as like, I still would probably value Bitcoin Cash around like per unit. I definitely would value it under the Dash price that I would give it. Like if Dash would be like 75, I'd put Bitcoin Cash somewhere around 50. So maybe maybe are similar market caps or something, but because of the supply differences, but still like not BTC is still got to be the king of the valuation just because of how much infrastructure and inertia and all this kind of stuff. But even then, I wouldn't put it at like what was the Dash ratio like? It's been slightly above and slightly below the 0.01 Bitcoin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Last time I looked, in terms of dominance, it was like 0.3 or something.
But it's been like up and down around that like 1% kind of thing.
Oh, sorry, you're talking about the Dash to BTC.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, yes. I thought you. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's 0.3%. Just for people freak out. That's in terms of the market cap dominance.
Yeah, so somewhere, it's been around that area for like a while, and I think that's like 1% really. Like in terms of what's going on, who's using it, it's got to be like, I would say closer to 30% or something. Well, I would put it like way higher than that. So that's what I'm saying about like the pricing. I mean, I think that the entire space has a hell of a lot of money behind it on its potential. And there's just a lot of stuff. Oh, it's gonna change everything. Oh, look what! And there's just a lot of money just waiting for it to fulfill. And then I think that, for example, we saw with the aforementioned backed dump that people were saying, "Oh, this is going to be great when stuff gets in, when stuff happens." And then when the stuff doesn't happen, well, I mean, nothing. Consider this with the backed. Backed actually launched. A thing that didn't exist exists, right? That's a plus. A plus should be up. But the fact that it dumped so much is that was a speculated high of like over here, really. And when it ended up being here, the price had to go return to meet the expectation in that regard. And there's still like, people don't know anything about Lightning. They just think, Lightning going to scale it. It's going to work. And then they hear bugs. It's new. And if there's ever a collective market realization that Lightning is not going to work, it's not going to scale the network like we want, it's not going to do whatever, that price can go way down too. If there's ever guess what? Check out all the merchants that say they accept BTC and then they don't, or who pays in them. And then if there's ever actual collective realization of that kind of stuff, I think you'll see crash. I think you'll see, I don't know, Ethereum has a lot of activity, but like if you think about something like XRP, where I think a lot of that is there's the company Ripple's doing some stuff, but as far as what's happening with the token, and I think you can see that go off a cliff. What else do you see going on with like Tether? Oh, that's a rough one, because Tether is mostly valued because of its ability to facilitate speculation, but it's another,
it's vulnerable because of the bank accounts that hold the
I mean, how does it work? So. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's always the funny thing with Tether, is that it maintains its peg because it's very fractionally banked by dollars, so it's way not as good as having a real piece of fake money, as I call fiat currency. But because of the increased utility for being able to speculate without all this AML KYC stuff going on, once you get in, you can just send it in and out and do all that stuff. It's all crypto to crypto because someone said so. I think that balances out the value. But all that long, boring ramble being summarized is, I think that relative to payments technology and ecosystem and all that, that's just kind of accurately valued, maybe slightly overvalued, but not by much. But relative to the rest of the crypto space, Dash is extremely undervalued. I mean, probably needs to be top 3. That's just what I think. Top 3 to 5, if not, at the most pessimistic top 5.
Top 5 right now, but in terms of like fair value in the real world right now, I think if you compare compare it to services like Western Union and PayPal, even for remittances or sending money, Dash offers a much better solution right now. Then if you look at it from the other side, which is kind of a bit speculative, but it's no different from buying stocks or investing in a company, because you're investing in them because you foresee what they're doing in the future to be beneficial. And with Dash platform, yes, there is speculation on that part. However, that could completely change the way people look at Dash because of the utility, the extra value added utility, because so many tools and services could be provided via the Dash platform, but that's not available right now. So that's a speculative play, but that's no different from investing in the stock market. But in Dash as a payments focused solution right now, compared to leading payment solutions in the traditional finance industry, I feel that we offer good value. In some ways, I don't even think we need to compare ourselves to other cryptocurrencies in that regard, because they haven't really made their impact in the mainstream world as of yet, in utility terms, at least, at the very least. So yes, there are high expectations with Dash platform, and ultimately it's going to be up to the people that build those services and tools and Dash platform and how they utilize it. And that's why it's exciting for me. But even just as a payment solution, even if Dash platform didn't happen and there was no Dash DAPI, Dash Drive, the payment solution of Dash right now is good enough on its own as a selling proposition. It does enough use cases to solve so many key issues in a number of different industries that were highlighted by the BizDev team in their strategy call in November last year, whether it's from e-gaming, e-commerce, chargebacks in the credit card industry, the cannabis industry. I mean, the financial legacy banking system has many, many different pain points. And I feel like Dash is so focused on being that payment solution that it's really kind of ignoring a lot of what's going on the crypto sphere. So although people in the community, of course, are looking at other projects, the development team are really looking at that next stage on what's really going to provide that next added value. And it's all about usability and accessibility, not just for users, but also for developers. So the best is yet to come. But from a fair usage point of view, if you compare Dash to Western Union or PayPal, just in terms of transacting money, I feel we're a superior solution.
Absolutely, and it just has not been fully encapsulated yet. And it's one of those things that, like, the potential upside. The thing is, people only know about Bitcoin for the most part, like outside. And then they just, crypto in general is like, well, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or that, maybe some smart contract like that. There isn't this whole assessment of what's actually is going on today. And as far as that assessment, I think that if people start to think about, all right, we have these base requirements of it has to be something that's not open to be limited supply, not open to be manipulated, and more importantly, actually very secure. That's like base. And after that, it has to be like fast, cheap, and secure to send just all over the place. When people decide, because everyone's like, oh, something like Stellar or Libra or something like that, it's going to be the payments, it's going to be the Bitcoin killer or whatever. Yeah, whatever. But if people decide to see the value of being decentralized, scarce, and stable like that as a prime requirement for whatever reason, then that unique payments angle, that unique, it's instant, it's super secure right away, and it's cheap. That whole thing is going to definitely like moonshot Dash in that case. And it's like, it's one of those things where, I mean, do you ever look back in just like the Bitcoin transactions back in the day when there used to be like very few of them? Like, it was a long time ago, but people just don't, people forget quite easily that, things haven't been the way they are forever. In fact, I'm just going to go take a quick trip down memory lane. Yeah, so what time did you start paying attention to Bitcoin?
Oh, man.
What year?
I think I was mainly aware of Bitcoin in 2011. I was working at IT at the time, so I was in an IT department, and of course there was lots of stories, and of course most of that action was on the Bitcoin
Which part of the year do you remember?
So long ago I couldn't say, but I didn't actively get involved in Bitcoin until 2012, 2013.
Yeah, so 2012, let's just say late 2012. For the sake of the argument, yeah, like October, November, December 2012, Bitcoin had roughly the same transactions as Dash does today per month per day. So think about that for a second, right? We're like, oh, okay. Now let's compare with, where's that price? I'm looking at of course, as fun as it would be to have all this ahead of time, enjoy that we'll do it live. Now, here's something that's interesting to look at. You have the middle of 2013, right around when I got involved, right where I became aware of this stuff. You have a transaction volume of, on the 7th of July, 30,000 transactions in a day. Yeah, that's happened to Dash a bunch recently, right? You resemble that.
Yeah.
That's a Bitcoin price of about 69 USD at that time, which is pretty interesting, isn't it? So 69 USD.
Was you hoping it was going to be higher based on your facial reaction?
No, I was actually pleasantly surprised at how low it was, or rather how correlating to Dash it seems to be. Because back then, in early 2013, I don't think that there was that much hype behind Bitcoin as far as like.
No, it was a geeky thing. And
it was a geeky / libertarian thing, and some people were excited, but there wasn't any like. People were just saying this is cool tech, and I think it can change the world. People weren't actually being like, this is gonna be huge. Everything's running on crypto. No. Now, okay, let's take another little snapshot over here. How about at the end of the cycle? So we have up to around 50,000 transactions in December, January of that cycle, around 50 to 70 or so, and then you 75,000 transactions when you pass 1,000 USD. It's like, whoa, you got the big moonshot. Transactions after the price levels off and goes down to like the bottom of, what is it? Let's say 190 or 200. Let's just say at 220, somewhere around middle of 2015. And we still have 100,000 transactions a day. The transactions, the use keeps going, and finally it peaks more or less, like it kind of levels off towards middle of 2017 when the price is 1.7 thousand, and then it only has that temporary mania bump when the price goes well over 10 times that much, and you just see the transactions, you kind of stayed in that channel, and I don't know if things are going to really take off past that. But what if this is a good roadmap for Dash USD price, right? What if when Dash hits, say, 50,000 transactions a day, or 75,000, then you're going to start going back into that several $100,000 range. Like, there is definite correlation, and I like to look at that because, say, you have something like Monero that has like never had transactions pretty much. There's like a brief time when they put out some game recently and everyone was using it that they had a bunch, but other than that, pretty much never had tons of valuation. Who cares? You have projects like that, but I think that Bitcoin, old school Bitcoin, is a good roadmap for Dash as far as valuation. And so remember I was saying, like, before even looking at this stuff, I think that Dash is more or less accurately valued. It's like, give or take a little bit. And what do you know?
But what was the accessibility to Bitcoin then? Because there wasn't many exchanges around. Coming to think that, I think it was probably around 2010 when I first learned about Bitcoin. Well, maybe before, but I started taking it serious in 2010 because that's when Mt. Gox came out, and then that was one of the vehicles of getting easy access to Bitcoin. Of course, that obviously ended it in the disaster in 2013. But I distinctly remember being in the pub, people, talking about it, saying like, we're not sure about this, Mt. Gox, anything can happen. And I just remember it was fun and exciting because it was geeky and nerdy. And that's how my Bitcoin business started. Late 2012, because I started creating Bitcoin t-shirts and things like that and wearing them around, and then people started requesting that I made them because they're like, can you make golf shirts? Can you? And I was like, well, golf shirt and that sort of stuff. And it for me, it became, because I was doing networking then, it seemed to me it was like an IT crowd sort of thing. So only people that are in IT were interested in it. That was my perspective because that was my environment that I was in. I didn't know if it was going to transcend over to mainstream or not. It just seemed like it was a fun thing. And wearing these t-shirts, it kind of felt like an insider geek thing. Because obviously I was doing
yeah, of course,
networking, like either like OSPF, wearing t-shirts like Area Zero and things like that. It was like inside jokes. But like, it's a completely different world today, and there's so many more exchange open. And there wasn't the merchants, not nearly like we have with Dash today back then. So I don't know. There's many different angles when it comes to valuation. And how do you put a value on the gift of financial freedom? Like, try telling that to people in Venezuela. Even if you talk about hard assets, we've heard so many stories of people getting their gold repossessed at the borders. I mean, that value comes down to you on an individual level. Financial freedom, something you can't put a price on. I'm sorry.
Yes, but of course. So you have seen valuation spikes when you have a long-term priced in kind of when you get the pricing in of use. And so I'm seeing, for example, I saw the spike, like, how many Dash transactions do you reckon there were when the price hit that 1600 peak? How many daily transactions?
Well, I would assume a lot of people would have been buying. I feel sorry for those people that bought the top. I mean, I feel awkward saying it, but I would imagine there would have been a lot of transactions.
Yeah, fewer than around 15 to 17,000.
Doesn't seem like that much in today's terms.
Yeah, it's obviously there's been a few different, there's been periodic bursts of stress tests and other things like that going on over the last 6 months or so. But even then, during the main days and stuff, we got around 20,000 or more a lot of days. And it's that's higher than the transactions were at the very peak. So, and that's the same thing happened with Bitcoin after that giant 2013 bubble, is you just had the transactions kind of not really level off too much, just kind of keep there. It's just that permanent usage got baked in. And so now we're basically, if we had to say, if there was a direct correlation between transactions and valuation, we would be at 2,000 today, 2,000 USD, which there isn't. So because that's when I would say, relative to the rest of the crypto space, no, not overvalued. Relative to actual usage at late 2017, Dash was probably overvalued by a good amount. But that's why now I'm the usage has not this is down where it's actually kind of worth, but there's a bunch of speculation. The thing is, the other projects just that don't even have that kind of stuff. It's just really
Well, you mentioned Litecoin earlier, and I know we've covered this before, but just on the pure basis of just going off the blockchain data, if you look at where Litecoin is positioned, and then you look at Bitcoin, and then you compare the blockchain data stats, you look at active addresses, daily transactions, and median transaction fee, they're so close. Some days Dash doing better, some not. So in terms of utility and use, especially when it comes to active addresses, I mean, surely they should be valued similar in terms of market cap value.
Yes, of course. And so that's one reason why when you're looking at bullish long-term indicators, depends on what you're looking for. But when you see transactions leveling up, and so the thing about Bitcoin transactions that's harder to see is we have an upper limit to the transactions. We see demand growing over time, and then it hits the ceiling. And when it hits the mania, it goes a little bit crazy, and then kind of levels off. But it's like, this is as high as it's going. Does that mean that's going to? What remains to be seen is that going to cap utility? Is the utility going to cap price? Is this going to be, maybe it goes up and down a little bit more, but it's really just this is the limit because the hard cap on the transactions has made that to be the hard cap on the value at some point, that it's not going to have this growth? Or does that mean that it's all being pushed to other things, like combined in transactions? So there's like double the transactions in a single transaction, for example. Who knows if there's going to be a thing like that? But I do find that increase of usage and all that, it's like when people talk about increasing metrics that aren't price, like for example, trading volume is okay, but like I would say the good metrics, and after this we really have to talk about Dashtoberfest for a second, but I would say the good metrics are base usage or the bottom usage. So Dash had 3+ million transactions in a single day. That was clearly a fluke, and it was a purposeful fluke, of course. You have hash rate go up and down and stuff, whatever. You have like merchants, you have like whatever, but whatever the you call like the hash rate, the number of like tweets/social media activity, transactions, you have all these kind of indicators of usage that don't have anything directly to do with the price. Wherever the bottom of that is, if the bottom keeps going up, it's like, oh, this is growing, because clearly there's always going to be up and down of like excitement. But as long as the bottom, and I've seen that, I've seen like the transactions have not gone to single digit thousands in a long time. I've seen like Reddit activity stay pretty high. I've seen there's a lot of new posts these days. I see hash rate continues to climb, and it does kind of level off sometimes, but it keeps on climbing up there. Active addresses is still doing that tango with Litecoin, bing, 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 trying to like overtake it. It's all those indicators are what some people would say primed for a big run up, but let's be honest, who cares? It's not a run up, but primed to consider this is going to keep on growing. Now, what about projects that don't have that? Like, what about let me just check out something else real quick. First off, do you like my hypothesis or not?
I think it's interesting. I think it's always interesting to look at numbers. The blockchain doesn't lie. And of course, we're comparing Dash with other metrics from other cryptocurrencies. So it's always hard to put a fair value on things, but I do think it is fair to measure up metrics with other cryptocurrency projects. And of course, as traders say, past performance is no indicator of future success, but we can learn things from it, and we can find areas of interest. Sometimes there's confluence. One of the things with the Dash news website that we've noticed with the statistical data is that the page views are correlated pretty closely to the price. And of course, the Dash news website's been going since April 2017, and it's pretty, it's really interesting. So I do find these metrics and data interesting to look at.
Yeah, what's funny about those, by looking for comparison. So I was saying with the Dash ones, they've been bouncing up and down, and the prices like front run it sometimes. It seems like from the lifetime exploration of Zcash, it seems like price and transactions have been extremely similar, like almost exactly the same. That you have. Was
there a bump when they got added to Coinbase? So I remember they pumped pretty hard after that.
Yeah, so you got, every time there's a big price bump, there's a big transaction bump. It's pretty clear, and obviously both have been kind of leveling off. There was a divergence towards the end of 2018, right when the bear market's hitting its worst, between the price and transactions, where transactions have kind of stayed at a 2,000 or 3,000, just kind of in there, and then the price has kind of gone down and then sideways. But then there's a big drop off in transactions recently. It seems like the price is going the price is no longer following the transaction. So it's kind of, here's what that would tell me if I'm a guessing person. I would guess that transactions were above a certain baseline of 2 to 3,000 are entirely speculative. So it's there's just a base utility of like 2 to 3,000 transactions a day that people will always use, and anything that's above that actual usage, that hobbyist usage or whatever, is all speculative. Like people, price goes up, people are buying, people are selling, whatever. Then that goes exactly with that. And at some point, the price fell below where it should be, but there's like a minimum number of transactions that there's the market demand for. But anyway, enough rambling about all that stuff because it's been way too long. Get something I really want to talk about, which begins in only a few hours.
Yeah, I mean, then that is actually a good indicator of success because you're right. There's not long to go now, but the Dash convention Europe, there's a number of strategic partners that, I mean, when you look at the caliber of the partnerships that we're doing and some of the speakers come in, that's an indicator of Dash's success and things to look forward to. I'm really looking forward to some of these keynote speakers, and we're so close to the event now.
Yes, it's going to be a fantastic time. During this whole time, it's funny because we start talking about luxuries and things, and everything was conference season. Everyone was buying tables and stuff. Everything was going crazy for a while. During the height of crypto hype, everything was going nuts. But then it all settled down. Dash had its convention. I mean, that had the conference in Europe in the middle of its hype, if you think about it, right? Was it at late 2017?
September 2017.
So just like 2.5 months before the price went haywire, like right before the top. It was like right then, it was right time. No wonder people thought it was just a hype project or whatever, just because the unfortunate timing of the convention or the conference were right about that time. And then now it's just like everything crashed, and then there was nothing in 2018. There were a few events that I helped run sponsorships and stuff for, but they were not primarily Dash events, and they'd already been prepaid and all that kind of stuff. Sure. But it's like, oh, tumbleweed. I mean, do you remember NEM?
Yes.
Really? You got a long memory? Just kidding. No, but if you remember NEM, it was like a top 10 crypto for all. It was above Dash for a while. And they were all over consensus. Do you remember when they were just all over consensus? Now they're out of the top 25. They're crashed. No one knows about them. They're on the long slide down. I haven't heard anything from them in a while. And Dash is having a convention tomorrow, in fact. And why? Where's the money coming from? Why is there was it time to pump stuff? Come on, it's not pump season. Oh, that's right. Dash has been working hard. It's been working very hard over the last several years. There's just so much to show. It's not that, hey, this is a good time to have a convention. It's kind of like, you know what? I think we need a convention about now. It's just there's too much that needs to get out there that we've been just holding in and just let it all out, right? And it's funny because I was admittedly a little bit skeptical at first. Oh, let's have it this year. I'm like, really? Is this going to be the year? Are people going to be? And then before you knew it, all kinds of companies want to show up and sponsor and want to show up and present. And there's a bunch of speakers. Everyone's getting excited. Everyone's trying to go. Everyone wants a piece of the pie. It's going to be great. And it's funny how this is one of those like shining rays of hope during the bottom of a conference season. It's funny because late 2018, I was at a like World CryptoCon in Vegas, and it was all right. There's so many companies sponsoring, not so many like the big crypto bigwigs, but there's not that many people. A lot of people were disappointed. Oh, it's terrible. Nothing's going on, but it was okay. Then you go to was it the North American Bitcoin Conference or whatever else that I was not at, but I heard firsthand reports that were like, man, this place is a ghost town. I remember there was like Bitcoin meetups happen all the time with like 20, 25 people around Portsmouth towards the mid 2017 to mid 2018. Now it just doesn't happen. The Dash meetup's still going. And that's what I was saying. The Dash meetup still has like 5 people or something like that. And 5 people at a minimum, and usually closer to like 10 to 12 in this teeny little town. So it's still like it's still like 1 out of every 2,000 people or whatever in the town comes. So that's good. It's still like kept going through that. And we're at that point when no one's doing conferences right now, but Dash is, because there's just too much going on. You have to be there. So if you are in the Central European areas, it's not that far. Go show up tomorrow. Hop on a plane. Why not? See if EasyJet or Ryanair can get you there. Hopefully you will have made travel plans already. You should be there by now. But if not, tune into social media. There's going to be the hashtag Dash Convention. It's going to be the hashtag Dash Convention. We're going to follow everything going on. Get ready to experience all the fun content that's going to come out of that convention, because it's going to be a good time. I can guarantee it. It's going to be nice. It's going to flood social media, and the whole world is going to just see that, hey, there's a lot going on. And will it pump the price? Let me think from past experiences. No. This kind of thing does not tend to happen. There's no big, oh my gosh, it's all amazing. It seems like, doesn't tend to happen like that. But
there is going to be some announcements, though.
There's going to be quite a few announcements. So hold on to your hats.
I think they're good. So
yes, hold on to your hats. There's going to be a bunch of good ones. No, it isn't Dash platform right now, but it's going to be a bunch of cool stuff. If you care about this being used as global money, as a transaction system, if you want to care about partnerships and actual real economic growth, then there you go.
There is a keynote speech on Dash platform, though, so you should definitely check it out. Make sure you stay locked to the Discord channel and also our social media channels. We're hoping there's going to be a live stream. We don't have the link to that to share with you right now, but make sure you stay locked to the Discord channel and also our social media at DashPay News on Twitter. And as soon as we get that live stream link, we will share that out with the community. So yeah, make sure we're going to try, both myself and Joel, we're going to try and report as much as we can. So those that are unable to attend, we're going to try and bring you the experience from inside out for you, so you're not missing out on anything. And yeah, it should be really good. I'm really looking forward to meeting people in the community, and we need this. I think there was so much fatigue last year with all these, it seemed like every week there's a blockchain event, but they're never dedicated to one thing. You might get a couple ICO things and a couple startup pitches, and it doesn't all apply to you. This is like purely Dash focused, and I'm looking forward to meeting other DFOs face to face, community members, masternode owners, and these new strategic business partners and stuff as well. I think it's a great opportunity, and I think even considering the price action earlier in the week, I think it's a time to celebrate in Dash, because I think things are going to get really interesting.
Not sell, celebrate.
Yeah,
okay.
Celebrate.
Okay.
Yeah, because I feel we're just about to open up a whole new chapter with Dash again. I feel like the game's changing. We're moving into that next phase. So this feels actually like the perfect time to come together as a community. And of course, we've got that co-working session on the Saturday in the morning, which we're going to talk about strategy, probably the launch of a Dash platform and what we should be doing. I mean, it's an exciting time, and we're all part of that conversation. So yeah, good times.
Yes, and guess what time it is now? It's a great time to remind you guys that, in case you didn't realize, this is not exactly a live broadcast. We're traveling too much, so we had to record this ahead of time and pretend we're in the future. But as such, I'm sorry we've ignored your live chat questions because, hey, you weren't there anyway. But it's not even the time for the after party. You know why? Because we are the after party. We're all at the convention right now. We're all about to go out, have a good time, and we can't be just sitting on the phone until the wee hours. The convention is the after party. Remember, we had the after party, which is the usual get together of just everyone listening to the podcast who wants to, jumping into a call type thing like this until the wee hours of the morning. And out of that got birthed this idea: what if we all did an in-person after party in Munich for Oktoberfest or something? Oh, that's awesome. And then before you know it, you got the Dash convention in Zurich planned for the Saturday, Sunday, and then Dashtoberfest in Munich, and it became the thing, and now it's the thing. And We're at the actual after party, so we won't give you the poser one this week. So I'm sorry about that, but we'll send you some pictures. Watch social media.
Still go to Discord though, right?
Yes, still go to Discord if you want to go to the source of. I'm sure that there will be a group of people talking about stuff. Go to staydashy.com. That gets you into the Dash Talk Discord, and once in there, just do whatever you want. However, why don't you check out the channel #Dashtoberfest? We will be live spamming all kinds of cool stuff and discussion. I promise that I will try to drop some pictures and messages in there during that time to keep you updated, so you get to actually have a feel of being, part of something there. So be there, see what's going on, and have yourselves a wonderful weekend. How about, huh?
Excellent. And for all of you people out there, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Smash that like button, smash for Dash, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to be alerted about future Dash video content. That actually really hurt. So, excellent. Well, if you're coming to the Dash convention, both myself and Joel look very happy to seeing you. If you're unable to come, we're going to be trying to create much content. There's loads of news, and we're going to try and keep the flows coming from Dash News as well. So make sure you keep locked to Discord, social media, and also dashnews.org, and we'll try and bring you the latest and greatest in Dash as always. But as it's the weekend, stay positive, stay humble, but most importantly, stay dashy. Have a good weekend, everyone.